bigcal and welcome to my world. Today, my top 5 favourite Nintendo Wii U games. So, the Nintendo Wii U was honestly one of the biggest flops for Nintendo in terms of consoles, which is very much a shame because I love this system. It was a great console. It was. But unfortunately, due to very poor marketing from Nintendo, with everyone confused whether it was a new console or an add-on simply for the Wii, no one really knew what the hell it was. Nintendo did a poor job of telling people. But for those who looked into it, it's like it's a new Nintendo console, great. You know, you can play it on your TV, or you can sort of have it portable with the gamepad. And basically an earlier version of the Switch. You can't go too far away from the main console though, which is a bit of a shame, so I can only go into another room and play this. But in my room, just like the Nintendo Switch, I can go and lay in bed and play it on here, or I can put it on the TV and play it on there. And then obviously some games you have it on the TV and then you have the second screen down here, which is something that the Switch can't do, because in order to play it on the TV it has to be docked and you don't get the second screen. So, you know, there is a big advantage with that here. Now obviously it does kind of feel a bit not as good now compared to the Switch. It feels very bulky and, you know, sort of plasticky. It's kind of like a kid's toy more than the sort of more sleek, better feeling, better made, better quality version of a Switch. But it's still a very comfortable controller in my opinion. I really like the gamepad. I was very surprised when I got it of just how comfortable and how usable it actually is. I don't own a Pro controller or anything like that for this, so I played all my games on this, either on the little screen or on the big TV. So the system, like I said, is pretty underrated because it did not sell well. It had terrible third-party support. So all we really got was a bunch of first-party games. And Nintendo are great at first-party games, which is why I love the system and I love my library for it. So before we get into the top 5, I want to go through some honourable mentions, and it just so happens that there are 5 of them. So I probably could have just done a top 10, but what are you going to do? It won't fit in with the other top 5s I was doing. So anyway, we'll get to the first honourable mention, and that is Rayman Legends. So there was some controversy when this came out, and that, you know, it was supposed to come to you know, the Wii U, and Ubisoft kind of was shit at supporting the console. They released, I think, Zombie U, one of the launch titles, I believe, and it's a fun game, works really well with the gamepad, but it did not sell too well, so Ubisoft's like, fuck that, we just can't be bothered. And fans are like, well, fuck you, you know, release some quality titles, you know, and we'll buy them, you know. 12,000 or whatever people, 12 million that owned the Wii U wanted some good games. Ubisoft did have some good titles that people wanted to play, but they were just so shit wanting to port them over or put any real effort into them. But they did make it up to fans with Rayman Legends. I don't believe they decided, I think, to cancel it at first, but after fan outcry they brought it back finally for the system, and this is essentially the definitive version to play it, although it has now been released on the Switch, so if you've got a Switch, get that version. But yeah, this obviously is the sequel to Rayman Origins, which was a return to 2D platforming for Rayman. And this is an incredible 2D platformer. When it comes to Rayman, the original on PS1, you know, and PC, you know, whatever else it came out on, it's okay. It's not the best 2D platformer. Sometimes it gets really difficult for the sake of being difficult. It's like they've just made it a pain in the arse rather than a good solid, you know, experience with difficulty that makes sense. 3D games, second one really fun, third one really fun. You know, and then they did a few different things here and there with re-releases over the years, and then they came brought back 2D with Origins. And I gotta be honest, I thought Origins was kind of dull. I don't know, I felt bored playing it. There was nothing technically wrong with it, just the atmosphere of it kind of felt boring. And then my friends bought me this for, I think, my birthday one year. and you know, Rayman, okay, cool, looks good. I played it and I was shocked, honestly, because this is so much better than Origins. It is unbelievable. It feels so much nicer to play. Just like I said, the atmosphere behind the whole game when you're playing it, you're having fun again, and that's great. Some of the level designs in this are top notch. I can't remember who it was that did a video. They basically talk about 2D platforms and how, you know, the 2D Mario games now, essentially you look at the levels and they're just your blocks here and there for platforming for no reason. These levels though are all sort of like built organically with your trees and your world items in the levels wherever the location is, and it all sort of makes sense, and it's just excellent level design. It really is. It looks absolutely stunning. It plays fantastic. On those music levels are godly, they really are. So yeah, this is an excellent game, and the definitive version was on the Wii U at the time, now on the Switch. Okay, that's the first honourable mention. The next one, another multi-platform game, but of course I bought it on the Wii U, and that is Shovel Knight. Yes, this is just another excellent 2D platform. This is, of course, just another excellent 2D platformer made to resemble 8-bit style platformers, and it's one of the best of its kind. These days we're just these days we are flooded with, you know, retro style platformers and things like that, and some of them just don't really look like they would do if they were on the old NES or the Master System or even the Super Nintendo and that, but this really does capture the original Nintendo style and gameplay and brings it, you know, into the modern day. It's incredible, and oh my god, they just threw 3 updates at us like crazy. The amount of extra content they gave in this game is insane, and we're still not done. There's still, I think, another DLC pack to come out. So even me, still the Wii U version, can still get the free update and have the complete experience. And what was also cool about this game is it came with a manual, because this was a generation where games started not coming with manuals, and this is all full colour and in great detail and just looks amazing. You know, and I think, yeah, there's also a copy of the soundtrack digitally, unfortunately, but yeah, incredible game. The only reason that it is only an honourable mention is because I haven't played through it enough yet to add it to my list. And I also own the Shovel Knight amiibo. It's one of the only amiibos I have actively went out and bought because I wanted it, because it was a non-Nintendo character being made as an amiibo, and it was such a great feat for the developers to get that done, because this is a fantastic game. Now, despite me being essentially a Nintendo fanboy, wearing the Nintendo Super Mario t-shirt here, doing a video on another Nintendo console, but this game is Sega, and, you know, kind of features a lot of Sonic, but it is tremendous, and that is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. I always call it Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing Transformed, I don't know why, but yeah, this is a fantastic kart racer. So fantastic, it is right up there in my opinion with Mario Kart 8, which I consider the finest kart racer of all time. The tracks are so fun and unique, you know, based on all the Sega IPs that they've thrown in there. You know, they change with every lap, different things will happen, and of course the whole transform part is sometimes your car will transform into a boat and you'll be on a water part of the level. Sometimes some of the level might get destroyed and you end up having to turn into a plane and fly around. It controls incredible. The skidding, you know, drifting and getting boosts from it is probably done here better than Mario Kart. It really is a fantastic game. While it does have probably more Sonic characters than other Sega IPs, there are a bunch in there. I'm honestly not too familiar with a lot of them, but it's, like I say, it's just an incredibly fun game, and it's more than just racing. You know, you have different sort of challenges to do in the story mode. You know, you might have to have a boss battle, and you'll have weapons. You'll have to destroy the enemy boss before, you know, the 3 laps are up or something. You know, cool little things like that. So yeah, this is great. This is also the special edition, which includes Metal Sonic and a bunch of mods for the Kart, Outrun Boy, and time trials, sorry, and in-game stickers. Okay, don't really remember what those are, but I'm guessing you could sort of stick them on your carts to customise it. Yeah, this is fantastic, and you know, it's great to own on the Wii U and have it sort of portable, and have it alongside Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. So great, and I would actually really like to see this ported to the Switch, to be quite honest, because the new Sonic Team Racing doesn't quite look as good as this, which is a bit of a shame. I would have preferred a sequel to this rather than just a basic Sonic racing game. Okay, next up we have a special edition of mine that I've got in a nice massive box, Super Mario Maker. So the sequel is coming out in just a couple of months for the Switch. Got it pre-ordered, cannot wait. I also pre-ordered this because it was incredible when it was first announced that we can create our own Mario levels. Now I know, you know, people are doing it for many years online, you know, on PC. They've been making their own custom Mario games, but it was always, you know, kind of difficult for a lot of people. You had to really look into what programs to use, how to use them, things like that. Wasn't the simplest thing to get done. But, you know, me personally, I once attempted to make a 2D platformer. It was going rather well till all the files corrupted, and I didn't want to start again from scratch. So this kind of helped my dream come true of being able to make a sort of 2D platformer, because you can make your own levels and then share them online with other people around the world, and they play them, you play theirs. And I think there's 100 built-in games, you know, done by Nintendo. So it's basically like a brand new Mario game as well. And yeah, this was just absolutely fantastic. You know, controls so well with the touchscreen, you know, and all the different themes. You got original Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros 3, Super Mario World, and then the new Super Mario Bros U themes. Just absolutely incredible. Of course, this special edition comes with a nice big thick hard book inside, showing you lots of, you know, images and graphics and things, and some ideas for levels, and it's just a great package to get, and it's still fairly cheap. You can actually still buy this for like under £30 still. It's really good because the game's worth it. So yeah, cannot wait for the sequel on the Switch. Lastly, for the honourable mentions, we have the double pack Bayonetta 1 and 2. Just utterly tremendously fun, you know, hack and slash games from Platinum Games, you know. If you know Platinum Games, you know the style of game that they tend to usually make, and the Bayonetta series is sort of up there as the absolute best. And kind of like Shovel Knight, the only reason this is on my honourable mentions is because I haven't played enough of the games yet. But I really want to, and something I might get into really soon actually. Now I've got the Wii U out, it might give me an excuse to set it up and actually play through it. Yeah, so it was great to get the collection of both of them, because obviously the original came out years ago. It was on, you know, PS3, Xbox 360 I believe, and I don't think it came out on PC at the time. But yeah, so they sort of updated it a bit and got it working with the gamepad controls as well for this, and then Bayonetta 2 is of course exclusive to Nintendo because they helped fund it, and now we're getting Bayonetta 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Cannot wait for that. Of course, this double pack is also available on the Switch, so you know, that is kind of a shame that all the better games on the Wii U are being ported to the Switch, but I understand it business wise because not enough people bought a Wii U, so now they're getting to experience these great games on another great system. Yeah, so Bayonetta 1 and 2, absolutely fantastic. So, with all those honourable mentions out of the way, let's get to the actual top 5. Number 5. This is a game that I've done a video review on, so if I remember, I'll put a link down below. If not, check my YouTube channel, check the playlist for game reviews, and it'll be there. Yeah, and it is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, another great 2D platformer on the system. So obviously this is a sequel to the Wii game Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was done by Retro Studios, and they did it again here when they brought about the Donkey Kong Country style of games that we hadn't seen since, you know, the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Color. So it was great to get some new games in that series, because they did the 3D Donkey Kong 64. Some people love it, some people hate it, and then they never really gave us a real platformer after that. You had the weird bongo one, then you had the bongo games that were rhythm games, and then you had weird things on the Wii before Country Returns came out. Yeah, so we never really got a proper one until these games. This one is absolutely fantastic. I do prefer the Wii one, but this is still a tremendous game. If you want to know more about it and more about my opinions and thoughts on it, check out that video review. But yeah, this is an absolutely great platformer. And again, it has been ported to the Switch, so, and the 3DS as well. So get a copy of it somewhere and get it played, because it is fantastic. Number 4. Well, we have a repeat here for a game that was on my Switch list, because it's a port. It was ported to the Switch, but it was originally out here on the Wii U, and it was the main reason that I bought a Wii U at the time. I had just come into some back pay for something that I'd been owed, and it's like, okay, this is extra money that I should have had ages ago. I managed without it, now it's sort of here. Treat myself to something. I decided to pre-order the Wii U with Mario Kart 8. Yes, this was coming out at the end of May, I believe, at the time, back whatever year it came out. So I was very excited for it to get a Wii U and Mario Kart 8, 'cause it looked fantastic. And yeah, it is fantastic. The Switch version is better. It is the definitive version. It is the deluxe version. It includes the standard game that's on here, all the DLC, which I did buy for this game because it was tremendous. You got basically double the content for only £10. Can't go wrong with that. And of course then the only thing that brings this version down is the battle mode. It doesn't have battle arenas. They're in normal stages, normal tracks, which, if you're away from each other and you're trying to chase each other, you're just going around in circles and never really catching up, and it's very difficult. But yeah, aside from that, the rest of the game is incredible, and it's one of the best kart races of all time. It really is great to have this and the Sega All-Stars Racing transformed on the system. Just two incredible games, two great kart races, but very different as well. This one, obviously, I played an absolute crap ton of, both on the Switch and here. It's a real testament to the game, the fact that I've probably played it just as much on the Switch in a year that I have on the Wii U in the few years that I've owned it. It's an excellent game. The DLC was totally worth it. I have no problems with buying the DLC and then buying the deluxe version with the DLC on the Switch, because this was just fantastic at the time and still is. Still looks and plays great on the Wii U. So if you don't own a Switch yet, but you do have a Wii U, or you're thinking of getting a Wii U, this version is absolutely worth getting still, no matter what. Number 3. This game I'm not going to go into too much information and detail on, because I do have a script written for a review, similar to Yoshi's Crafted World on the Switch list. I do have a review written for that and for this, but this is a tremendous game. I had so much fun with it. It took me about a year or so to pick it up. I finally picked it up when it came to the Nintendo Selects range, so it was nice and cheap, and that is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So this was based on a series of mini-games essentially from Super Mario 3D World, where you'd have these sort of cubes floating in the air, you could move them around. It was a puzzle game. Captain Toad couldn't jump or anything, just had to collect stars. So they sort of fleshed out that game by adding a ton of levels into it. And yeah, you basically do the same things that you're collecting treasure now. There's different hidden treasures in there, a couple of different tasks you can do to fully complete it all, and it is an absolute fantastic puzzle game. Yeah, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Again, this has also been ported to the Switch and the 3DS, so you've got no excuses. It's on a system that most people these days are likely to own, so you can definitely play it. There's even some DLC on the Switch, although personally I think it's overpriced for what you get at the moment. But yeah, you cannot go wrong with just the core game of this. It's over 70 courses, and they're all really, really fun to play through. It's a great puzzle platformer, and yeah, I can't wait to actually do my review of this. I've had it written for about 5 months, so I'm going to finally get round to recording it at some point. Number 2. This game I have again already reviewed, like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and this was in fact my 100th YouTube video as well, the review for it, and to this day it remains probably my favourite video that I've done so far for the channel. It turned out the way I wanted it to turn out. You know, I kind of got everything said that I wanted to say. I was fine with the editing, the way it was recorded. I was just very happy with it all in all, and it's such a wonderful game. I'm glad that I was able to do it justice, in my opinion, with the video. The game in question is Yoshi's Woolly World. This was an incredible birthday present from my friends. Again, they got me the big box set that came with the the yarn Yoshi amiibo, which looks cute as hell. And I played through this basically in a weekend, recorded all the game footage and did my video on it the next week. It was just so much fun. It was actually sort of my main first Yoshi game that I ever played. Never got to play Yoshi's Island back in the day on the Super Nintendo, and never played the other games on the DS, the 3DS or anything, so this was my first iteration of a Yoshi game, and as far as I'm concerned it's probably the best. Original Yoshi's Island, I've played some of it now, it is fantastic, but this one is just so incredible. I was just gobsmacked every time I started up a new level. The visuals of the yarn and the wool and everything just looks amazing. Just when you walk on it, you know, and the weight of Yoshi pushes it down like it's really there. It's just so beautiful, it really is. And of course the classic Yoshi gameplay is there with the jump and the flutter and the throwing the eggs, except it's balls of yarn now. The level design is second to none. This is really fantastic, so check out my video review of it to see me gush all over it some more. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favourite games of the generation that it came out in, and my second favourite Nintendo Wii U game. Number 1. Well, I'm pretty sure everyone out there can guess what my number 1 game on the Nintendo Wii U is going to be, because it's a massive game and it's been absent from the list so far. Yep, Super Mario 3D World. Amazing. And probably the most underrated 3D Mario game ever made. Sunshine maybe comes close, but that gets a lot of love still. And I actually reviewed this game in written format. This was the review was the first piece of content that I ever posted over on bigcalsworld.co.uk. It's a pretty long read because I go into a lot of detail on the previous games and building it up and how it got to this one. But I'm very happy with that written review. One day I probably will do a video review on this because it definitely deserves it. It is a wonderful game. You know, you've got the 3D elements, but they've basically made, you know, Super Mario World into 3D. So you got from point A to point B, jumping on the flag to end the level. You're not collecting a bunch of different stars or moons or shines or anything like in the previous games. So in that sense it's very different, and it was sort of a step backward because you didn't have that gravity aspect that were in the Galaxy games, which was disappointing. But they made up for it so much with really fun levels, great level design. The cat suit really does add a lot. You can run really fast. You can scratch your opponents, you know, to kill them. You know, all the enemies. You can climb up walls for a short period of time, cling on to the side of objects. It was really fun, really cool. The clear pipes. It's really fun to just go through the clear pipes. It is. I don't know why. And as well to shoot fireballs through them. And I know 3D Land came out first on the 3DS, but I didn't have a 3DS at the time, so this was my first iteration of the 3D Land and World games, and this one really is fantastic. So much, it's even better than the 3DS one, which is also great. They make use of the gamepad here and there. We have to blow in to it, you know, to make fans move, to make certain platforms move. You can, you know, hit things on the gamepad and that, like to knock down walls and open up sections. So that's really fun. The Bowser boss fights are very fun, especially the final one where you're sort of climbing up the tower. That's really great. And The level, the world map is kind of basic. You know, you kind of got the Super Mario 3 sort of style world map, but done in 3D. It's fun, but the final world, when the Bowser one, incredible. I mean, just the first time you see that is something special. It really is. The music is top notch here as well. That really adds to it. There's even a stage based on Mario Kart, which is really fun because he's just running but really fast and getting turbo boosts. Yeah, so I love this one a lot. You got the cherry suit as well, which is a new power up, which is really cool. A cannon box, we get a box on the end, the cannon flies out. That's really cool. There's a couple of other things in there as well. And then of course you've got the extra levels where you go up into space. Sadly, again, there's no gravity there, which I was a bit disappointed with. But yeah, and then you also of course have the Captain Toad levels. That's where they first appeared, and that was fantastic, and I always wanted a full game made out of that, and they did it. It's on the list. Yeah, so this really is a tremendous 3D game. I think it gets overlooked, A, because it's on the Wii U, so again, not as many people had it. B, it hasn't been ported to the Switch yet, like most of the big Wii U games. And C, because it was a step back from what Galaxy was. So a lot of people honestly didn't bother picking it up or weren't that impressed with it because it wasn't an evolution of Galaxy. It was a step back, but it felt like it was a fork, a crossroads, and you're back on the SNES, and now they're going into 3D. So it's like, okay, one fork goes Super Mario 64, that goes into Sunshine, into Galaxy, and eventually into Odyssey. Whereas this fork, you're back at Super Mario World, and it goes to Super Mario 3D World and 3D Land. And it goes a different way, and it's just as good in my opinion. Different, but just as good. And this is a fantastic, wonderful game. And while I have to admit I'm not too keen on a lot of ports from Wii U going to Switch, because I own the Wii U and all these great titles, I want new titles for the Switch, but I understand a lot of people didn't buy it. So if any game definitely needs a port to the Switch from the Wii U, it is this one, so more people can play it and fall in love with it. Whew. So those are my top 5 Nintendo Wii U games. Hope you enjoyed the list. Again, let me know down in the comments what you thought. Let me know what your top 5 Wii U games, if there are any missing off this list that I should really take a look at. So I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.